There are objects in this world that don't just sit quietly where you place them. They wait. They listen. And when the right moment comes, they open doors you should never have unlocked. This is the story of a doormat. Not a doll, not a mirror, not a cursed painting. Just a simple coir mat, stamped with bold black letters. Welcome home. You'll find them in every store. Friendly, harmless, inviting. But one of them isn't like the others. One of them is a trap. And if you ever bring it to your doorstep, if you ever let it sit outside your home, it won't be you deciding who walks through the door anymore. Maggie Harlow wasn't superstitious. She was practical, grounded, the type who laughed at ghost stories but kept night lights on because they were for safety. After her divorce, her townhouse felt too big, too hollow. She wanted to make it warm again, personal again, hers. Which is why she spent weekends at yard sales and thrift shops, filling the place with second-hand finds. That's when she saw it. The mat was stacked on a folding table, sunlight falling across its stiff bristles. The words stood out cheerfully. Welcome home. Maggie smiled. Perfect. After all, she was trying to convince herself she was home again. How much? She asked. The woman running the sale was pale, jittery. Her hair was unbrushed, her eyes rimmed red. $5, she muttered quickly. Take it. Please. Maggie frowned. It looks new. You sure? Take it, the woman repeated. Her voice cracked. Something in her tone gave Maggie pause, but $5 for a brand new mat was too good to pass up. She handed over the bill. As Maggie carried it to her car, the woman whispered something so softly it was almost lost on the breeze. Don't put it by the door. That evening, Maggie laid the mat across her step. It looked inviting, cozy. The townhouse felt a little less empty. But as soon as she closed the door, something shifted. The silence grew thicker. The air heavy, close. Even the shadows stretched a little too long. She told herself she was imagining it. Stress. Fatigue. But at 2:17 a.m. she woke. Not to a crash. Not to a knock. To silence. Total, suffocating silence. The fridge hum gone. The clock tick gone. And then she heard it. A shuffle. Slow. Dragging. Bare feet on the mat. Her chest tightened. She sat up in bed, listening. A whisper followed. Sweet. Gentle. Almost loving. Welcome home. Her clock glowed 2:17. The numbers frozen. Not moving. For 10 long minutes, time refused to pass. In the morning, she told herself it was a dream. Until she stepped outside. Across the mat were wet footprints. Small. Child-sized. Bare. They didn't lead up to the house. They led outward as if someone had walked from inside across the mat and vanished into the street. Maggie's skin crawled. She slammed the door shut, heart thudding. By noon, the prints were gone. Night after night, the whispers returned. Always at 2:17. Always from the door. At first, they were vague, distorted. Then they sharpened. Grew personal. By the fourth night, Maggie swore she heard her mother's voice. Welcome home, sweetheart. Her mother, dead for years. That night, Maggie dreamed she was back in her childhood house. Cinnamon cookies on the counter. Her father's laughter echoing. But when she opened doors, they led to black rivers, full of pale hands clawing upward. She woke sobbing. One evening, as she took out the trash, her elderly neighbor Mr. Donnelly called out. Strangest thing last night, Maggie. Thought I saw someone standing at your door around 2. Just staring down at your mat. Maggie stiffened. What did they look like? Donnelly squinted. That's the thing. Couldn't focus on them. First thought it was a man. Then a woman. Then a child maybe. Like it kept changing. Maggie forced a laugh. Must have been the dark. But her hands trembled on the trash bag. Shaken, Maggie drove back to where she'd bought the mat. The house was abandoned. Windows boarded. Grass overgrown. A neighbor leaned over the fence. You looking for the Marshalls? They left overnight. Packed up and gone. Their boy, he went missing. 8 years old. Police never found him. When? Maggie asked, voice tight. The neighbor shrugged. Couple weeks ago. The same weekend Maggie bought the mat. The voices grew bolder. They no longer stayed at the door. Now they whispered in the hall, chuckled in the kitchen, climbed the stairs. Sometimes she woke to her bedroom door creaking open, though she swore she'd locked it. Other times she felt a weight press into the bed beside her. And one night she saw a shadow standing at her mirror. Not hers. The next morning, words were written in the fogged glass. Welcome home. Maggie tried confiding in her coworker Claire. At first Claire laughed, but when Maggie begged her to come stay the night, she agreed. At 2:17 they both woke to silence. Footsteps. Whispering. Claire sat up, eyes wide. Mags, I hear it. Oh my God, I hear it. And then a voice drifted from the hall. Claire froze. Mama? Maggie turned. What? Tears filled Claire's eyes. That's my son's voice. But Claire's son had died years ago. She bolted for the door. Maggie screamed for her to stop. Claire flung the door open. For a split second Maggie saw nothing. Then a mass of pale, wet hands shot through the doorway, pulling Claire into the dark. The door slammed shut. When Maggie ripped it open again, the night was empty. No sign of Claire. Only the doormat, perfectly clean. Panicked, Maggie scoured the internet. Haunted objects. Cursed mats. Anything. Finally she found a forum post. Years old. The mat doesn't welcome you. It welcomes them. Every night at 2:17 the drowned return. They speak in voices you love. They'll make you open the door. Once you do, you're theirs. Burn the mat. But be warned, it never really burns. That night, Maggie dragged the mat to her backyard fire pit. She doused it in lighter fluid. Struck a match. The flames roared unnaturally high. She heard screams inside the fire. Faces. Men, women, children, burning. And over the crackling came a chorus, furious now. Welcome home. The mat blackened but did not burn. And when she turned toward her house, she saw them. Figures pressed against every window. Pale hands smearing across glass. Maggie barricaded the doors, shut the blinds, prayed. At 2:17, every light in the house went out. The whispers surrounded her. From the walls, the ceiling, the floor. Welcome home. Her phone screen lit up. A new photo in her gallery. It was her bedroom. Taken seconds ago. She was in the picture, sitting on her bed. And behind her, a shadow leaned close. She dropped the phone. Ran. The last thing neighbors reported was her scream tearing through the night. By morning, her house was empty. No sign of Maggie. Only the doormat, pristine, waiting. By noon it was gone. If you ever see a doormat that says welcome home, don't bring it home. Some invitations can never be taken back. And if this story chilled you, remember, it's just one shadow among many. For more terrifying tales, subscribe to Stories in the Shadows.